We get quite a lot of overseas guests coming here because we're about 45 minutes from London Heathrow, and they tend to use us either as the first night on the stay or the last night. Because we've got some wonderful sized bedrooms, and we can often give them for early arrival or hold them for later departure. And because we're only 45 minutes from Heathrow, it makes a wonderful stopping off point because they can rest, relax, put all their luggage together. And we find the visitors who come here mainly are American. Also, we've got Japanese visitors who come, European, very strong from Europe because they're our nearest neighbours, and a good number from Australia as well, which is always a joy to see them because they make us.
They spend more money. They stay longer, spend more money in the bar.
Well, they're always great fun. They're nice guests to have, and we enjoy welcoming them.
What about the Middle East? Is that?
Not really, no, nothing at all. Occasionally we get some sort of Arabic visitors, but very, very few. Russians, perhaps more Russians than...
Yes, because they're fairly wealthy people these days, some of them.
Yeah, but they're all based in London, and when they come out here, they're coming to perhaps shop in the Bicester Village, which is one of these discount villages, where you can buy, great sort of discounted
designer labels and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What about China? Has that started appearing yet as a market for you?
No, we're actually in the 2012 Olympics here. It's going to be big for us.
Yes.
So we've got some people out there at the moment in Beijing, and we're looking at China as a market. But at the moment, it's very, very small, very small, very limited.
Sure.
We really look to our neighbours, and for us, it's the home market that's our key market. Then Europe. Then America, and then probably, then going further out to Asia.
So what makes this hotel special, from your perspective as a hotel? Because you've been here 20 years?
I've been here 20 years.
So there must be something really special about it for you to stay here, but in terms of selling it and staying in it as a guest, what makes it really special?
I think the house itself, the house and its setting, it's very rare to find a house as beautiful as this in such a lovely 90 acres setting where you can come and stay. And I think that is its initial sort of that champions it. Then you see guests just come in and visit for lunch, for afternoon tea, for dinner, so it's accessible to everybody. And when you have some of these grand swanky houses, you find very often people try and pretend to be grand and swanky. But the great thing about Hartwell is that we try and sort of keep it at a level that people can come in, relax. They don't have to be smartly dressed. They can just come here and enjoy it, whether it's for lunch or dinner.
Commenting about my dress?
Not at all. Not at all. Most people, wear jeans and sort of a shirt. That's what life's about these days. It's only me who ends up with a jacket and a tie.
But what about the rooms themselves, though? Because you've got a range of rooms, both in the main building and outside. Yeah,
within the house we've got 32 bedrooms. The first floor rooms, they're the royal rooms. They're the principal rooms of the house where the family would have stayed. Then on the second floor, we've developed another 16 rooms up there, where all air conditioned, which are up in the roof of the house. Up in the.
Is that where the servants would have lived? Or?
Yeah, they would have done. They would have done. But when Louis was here, he had 150 of his court in exile in the house.
Wow.
So the proportions of the rooms upstairs are equally generous, but the ones on the first floor, the royal rooms, are really grand.
Very smart, yes.
And then what we did is we then restored the old stables and riding school, and into those put modern bedrooms, many with suites and sitting rooms. But the whole house, it's wireless internet connected, flat screen televisions, air conditioning. It's an old building, but inside the modern comforts are all there.
Sure. Now, if Australians and New Zealanders want to come and stay here, how do they find out about Hartwell, and can they book it online, or do they go through travel agents?
The first thing to do, have a look at our website, www.hartwell-house.com.
I'm glad you knew that.
I can tell you.
Do you want to repeat it?
www.hartwell, HARTWELL-house.com, and that's the best entry point, because then you'll see what we look like. See if I'm telling the truth. But Hartwell got its name not from any Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell ever living here, from the old English word hart for a deer. And if you go around English pubs, you'll see them called the Red Hart or the White Hart. And the Hart, H-A-R-T, was a deer, and the deers used to drink from the springs or well here, and that's how it got its name. And I get many Americans coming over who are Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell, and they're all looking for their family ancestral home, and I put a little card in their room and say, welcome home.
Yes.
And then I have to break it to them that there was no Hartwell who ever lived here.
Are they going to try and claim the place as their ancestral home and say, this
well,
is
they all
my
think
home?
it is. They think it is. But the link is always, they've always got a deer as a crest, and they've always got something that looks like a bucket and chain for the well, or a bit of brick masonry. And so I can usually put a smile on the face.
Tell me a little bit about the other properties before we go for a walk around as well. I mean, you have Bodiscathlin in Wales and Middlethorpe in York.
Yeah, I mean, Bodiscathlin was the first house that we rescued and restored. That was 77. And that sat in 200 acres of parkland overlooking Conway Castle. And it was originally a watchtower for that great castle. Middlethorpe Hall in York is a Queen Anne house, brick built just outside York, within the city walls. You can just walk there by York Racecourse. And that was the second house that we saved and restored. That had been a disco before.
Oh my goodness.
But a great history and heritage, and was the Bishop of York's house. So both these two houses, Historic House Hotels, which is our company, took on. The historic bit means we take on historic buildings.
Yes.
The houses is they've got to be small. Probably we get 48 bedrooms in them generally. And then hotels, that's the way we make them live, by welcoming people into them and by bringing them back to life. And it gives them a safe and secure future.
Sure. Now, are the hotels, or is this hotel, are they members of any of the groups or the sort of marketing groups?
Yeah, we're part of Small Luxury Hotels of the World.
Oh, excellent.
And we're also part of a British marketing consortium called Pride of Britain Hotels. So we've got two, one internationally, SLH, and then one locally, Pride of Britain. And if people want to visit their websites, have a look, they'll find us there, and then come into us that way as well.
I think it's time to go for a little walk around.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'd love to show you around.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
To your left is the Georgian addition that was added on, and you can see quite clearly the first floor, there's royal rooms, and then up on the second floor, the more practical, more ordinary bedrooms up on the second floor. The church, you can see there, was built in 1754, and it's modelled on the chapter house at York Minster. And if you spin round to your right, you'll suddenly come across, this is all our parkland with the grazing field, but there's a bridge and a lake, and the bridge is in fact the centre arch of Kew Bridge, which was brought here in 1901 and now spans the lake. And all that lake is fed from spring water, and that runs then into the River Tame and then goes off to the River Thames and flows past London. So we're supplying London with its water. We're now in the library of Hartwell. Again, you can see the high ceilings, which is a feature of the ground floor of this house. The portrait there of one of the Lees who lived here, that was Lady Elizabeth Lee. To your right, you've got all the books in the library here, and then a portrait of Sir Joshua Reynolds. And further round to the right, you have got a portrait of Louis XVIII of France. And Louis, as I say, when Napoleon was chasing him through France in the Napoleonic Wars, he escaped from Moscow and came here with 150 of his court in exile and used this library as his courtroom and signed his accession to the throne of France here in 1814. So it's got a great bit of history. This is the Gothic stairs, and these figures, carved wooden figures, were created for an earlier house, probably about sort of 1720, and they're there to guard you as you go upstairs to bed at night. And the portraits you can see on the left-hand side there are Louis as a younger man. That was probably when he was in his 20s and 30s, with his wife, Marie Josephine de Savoie, on the right-hand side. She hated her time in England, and she hated these stairs because she was a bit of a boozer, and when she went to bed at night, the maids would be carrying the candles in front of her, and the shadows that these figures cast frightened her, and she had them all taken down and removed. But this makes a great stair to lead you upstairs at night. These are the lower balusters on the stairs, and whenever they broke one, they put a new figure in. And this one we're looking at here is G.K. Chesterton, and he was a local man. Then straight through there, I don't know if you can see Sir Winston Churchill. He's on the stairs there. And above him, there's a lady. There she is. Oh, that's the one. And she looks a little bit like Mrs. Thatcher. But I'm assured it isn't. But they're a wonderful staircase, very, very strange figures. Some of them have got beards and breasts, the creations of the designer, the wood carver who made them. But they're wonderful things to have.